yes, obviously he got that recent win, and honestly, he could have even won Bristol too had lap traffic not really played a full-on factor either, but at the same time, second still an excellent finish, so yeah, him being plus 15, that's definitely going to be a good advantage. At the same time, though, he should definitely put in a good effort to stay where he is right now, so just be on the lookout for him to be successful in this round, hopefully.
And certainly he's a man with a bit of a local advantage right now, it has to be said. Actually was physically in Las Vegas a couple of days ago, so I don't know if there's such a thing as track knowledge. As I believe from our Facebook conversation, he did in fact take a visit to the aforementioned Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and now he's racing it here tonight. So certainly 97, he might have a little bit more excitement in his race here tonight as well, as we go through again the rest of the qualifying order, in particular as it relates to the round of 8 drivers. And we've got Jacob Nelson up, or Corbin McCauley in third, excuse me. I nearly forgot about him. I think they got one more pace lap, so we've got a little bit of a window to go over this. So yeah, last week's race winner Corbin McCauley will start in third. He'll have Jacob Nelson on the outside of row 2 there in fourth. Jonathan Peden rounds out the top 5, and that appears to be Leo Jameson starting in 6th. So that's 6 of our championship 4, or no, round of 8. They want to get to the championship 4 right there. And
don't jump the gun 7, just yet.
Yeah, no, we're not jumping to conclusions. Anything can happen in Vegas, of course, higher stakes now than ever. And starting, or drawing lucky 7 as his starting spot is another driver in the playoff mix, Jose Mercado, and his number 41 out of Kissimmee, Florida. The one man missing from this equation is Darcy Ford, as we were told. I think he may have just missed out on the qualifying session, but anyway, he's going to be starting at the back of the field. So if Darcy Ford wants to get within striking distance, he's got to make some moves fast. Leads them around, and I think they're coming into, is that turn 3 or turn 1?
That's certainly turn looks 1, like that is the green flag.
Yeah, they've built up more speed than I expected, so we are underway here in tonight's Domino's 200. Dickens with a good start off the line. Higginbotham there in second. McCauley remains in third. Although, in saying that, it looks like Nelson may have actually gotten the inside line, and McCauley maybe a little bit of a brush with the wall there coming through, as he's going to fall back down a couple of spots and see his fellow playoff competitors just surge ahead here in the early going, dropping down to around 7th place there as he was side by side with Mercado briefly. And the final driver in that lead group of 8 by the looks of things. I know it was Mike Marini starting at 8, but hard to tell who that driver was. I thought Marini had a white car, but again, we'll figure that out as we go along. As we'll check in now on the aforementioned Ty Higginbotham, still in second. Just content to tuck in behind Dickens right now, right on that back bumper. And I know the stakes aren't quite as high as they were at Vegas this time last year, but I think, Riggs, we're going to be in for a competitive race there, as I think Higginbotham may have touched that front right onto the wall.
All right, it looks like he's still able to keep going there. Had to maybe lose a couple spots there on the outside, but he slides in perfectly clear of 4th place right there, right in front of Leo Jameson. So still all good, still pretty early. Probably nothing to worry about for now. And yeah, Mike Mickens continues to have a comfortable lead as, yeah, like I said earlier, just kind of a bit of a single file train in a bit of a sense as we've seen per usual in most of the immediate tracks. Again, though, it's only stage 1, still got this stage 2 more to go as well, so things will definitely get a little bit more heated as we get to the end of the stages, plus the actual checkered flag as well.
Indeed so, and notably, the one win that Mike Nichols does have this year, it was on another intermediate in Michigan to begin the playoffs. So Maybe not a surprise to see the 18 out in front as we ride with Corbin McCauley right now. Looks like it's Hunter Young at the back of this kind of lead pack here. So McCauley down in 8th place. And he and Hunter Young trying to hold on to that pack of 6 drivers who are still very much in the championship mix here. As we'll bring it up the field just a little bit, where we'll find Jacob Nelson in the number 9. He's moved up into 2nd after Higginbotham's little brush with the wall, and McCauley's as well, or at least his little trundle back down the field. But Nelson, he's a guy, he's been hanging around. He's on the outside looking in right now. But again, this would be kind of upsetting the balance if he was to pick up his first win of the season here tonight and get himself a spot in the championship 4.
Well, yes, that's the thing too. You have to consider that, especially imagine if both of these races. This is probably going to be broadcast somehow, but yes, there is the possibility that if both of these races have a case where both are not won by Tornado Alley drivers, like just imagine the case where like Pete and Higginbottom and Jameson, like that whole group, imagine only one of them or even 2 of them make it. That could be the situation here with all these other guys that you can see across the board as well. Like Mike Nickens very much has the ability to win. We saw him get another down here immediately in Michigan, like you mentioned. Jose Mercado's got the potential to win. He's been kind of up and down this season in terms of consistency. He's been more so a qualifying guy in comparison to a race guy, although it seems to be kind of flipped in the past couple races. Jacob Nelson seems to be that guy that's always there, kind of like a Mark Martin sort of a driver. Like it's always like finishing second disturbingly often in a sense. Like it's always runner up or somewhere in the top 5. It still hasn't been that win yet, even though the potential is just right there. So he'll probably have to figure out a way to get some good maneuvers going at the right times, make some good decisions, have that good awareness. Then of course Corbin McCauley, he could win any track, honestly. Like that's been kind of the roller coaster of the seasons he's had. He could win at an intermediate, it could be a road course, it could be anywhere. And then there's Darcy Ford, who won at Las Vegas last year, as we mentioned, and he started back tonight. It wouldn't surprise me if he's going to make it all the way up there and be able to hang out with the top cars. By some point, he'll probably have to take advantage of any green flag pit stops that happen, and also strategies during the stage breaks if he wants to come in and hit or not. So again, it's just a continuous talk of how close this bubble is now that we're getting now we're pretty much seeing the battle of the drivers that we know have a shot at the title. And like you could say, it's all Tornado Alley? No, don't say that. Don't underestimate those guys that are not even in Tornado Alley. We've seen GTR Motorsports come through in the playoffs with some W's and such. So literally anything can happen. It's just that same old motto.
And it's 2 GTR guys who are 1-2 right now in the form of Nickens and Nelson, as it looks like we've got a bit of a splinter of this top 4 separating themselves from positions 5 through 8, as it's Nickens, Nelson, Keaton, and Higginbotham who've broken away, which would leave Mercado, Jameson, I think that may have been McCauley actually moved up to 5th. So bit of a recovery here very early on for the 17 as he tries to break away from that secondary pack to catch our lead group before, as Keaton taking a dip down into pit lane here. So I think Jonathan Keaton is potentially looking at coming in, maybe Higginbotham as well. And let's just see. Yes, and they are. So better hope you don't. That's the right time.
Better hope you don't get a speeding penalty there, because I know I don't know if it was Keaton, but there was some like one of those high-end playoff contenders back a couple races ago that took a very, very late entry on the pit road, and it costed them a speeding penalty for too fast entering. So you definitely don't want to have that happen at a track like this as well, because with the way those corners exit off right there, like turns 3 and 4, you really have to be careful, especially with cars coming right behind you, because that can really cause a lot of tightness, especially whenever you start to get your tires like really, really warm. Like your car could slide up, it could get right into the back of someone. You have to have that awareness to be able to judge when to come in and how to do it properly, especially at a track like this. And even as well, it's the round of 8 now. You have to make the right decisions at this time. So it's integral in how you have to enter your way on the pit road, and also exiting off the pit road as well. You have to go right to the apron, have that speed, make sure you don't spin or end up getting tight and going up the track into the pack. I guess that's kind of a bit of a dark joke against some of the lap traffic fiascos that we've seen the past couple races. So yeah,
things have happened here certainly. Jose Mercado looking to make things happen for himself. He's currently running in 6th place here, as he's got Hunter Young for company along with Leo Jameson, as I think that's Nelson who pitted. I think Jameson was in as well. And so we'll have to see how this kind of lead battle shakes out, or these kind of lead groups, I should say, as we'll check in on Mike Marini, the unfortunate victim of that 1-point deficit between himself and Darcy Ford last week to get eliminated in the round of 12, as he's heading into pit lane this time around. And we'll continue on where we'll find Hunter Young back with Jose Mercado. So Young driving out of St. Catharines, Ontario in that number 20. And he's elected to stay out for another lap. Coming down that Nellis straight, as looks like, I'm not sure if that was Marini coming out or what the deal was. Missed the number that time around, but we'll check in on the 77 of Reggie Kime, also eliminated earlier in the playoff picture, as was Bobby third, who just went into pit lane, in that same shot. And so we'll continue along here to Keith Miller, who's back on track here tonight, the number 44 out of Minnesota. He's just following behind Reggie Kime here on that back straight into turn 3. And the 44 and 77, this may be for position here, as Miller got a good run off of that high line. And yeah, that's well done from the 44, it has to be said. We'll continue along now to Travis Tyson as he heads into pit lane. And so we'll move along to Kevin Daigle here. And he just missed out on the playoff picture after making it each of the first 2 seasons. I believe he was man number 17 in this year's regular season, just missing out by a couple of points. It was tight there for the 85. Just didn't quite go the Thunder Bay, Ontario natives' way, as we've got a couple more pit stops going down. And as Daigle goes to complete another lap, check in on the man who made it into the playoffs in that final race at Talladega, Dan Mattiello, who got eliminated in the round of 16 after the Watkins Glen race. Yeah, the Warwick, New York native just trying to get a strong, positive finish to this season to set himself up potentially for future success as he comes around and into turn 1 to begin yet another lap. And we'll continue our way through the field. A quick look at the 55 of Trent Nielsen out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, as I think he may have just had a little tap with the wall there out of turn 4. And Nielsen, he's been a guy who's traditionally been decent on super speedways, just hasn't necessarily converted it to other track formats, as we'll move along to a man who's been here since day 1. That'd be the number 10 of Jason Butler of London, Ontario. A little bit of a different paint scheme for him tonight by the looks of things, but always with that Miami Vice kind of theme, as he'll dip out of the way to get out of the road of Higginbotham and Keaton, as Butler would be lap traffic here in this case. Gentlemanly thing and staying high there, as we'll move along now to Andy Hurdle, who again came into tonight second in the best of the rest standings, as I think we saw some dirt there, so I think somebody went through the infield right ahead of Hurdle. Obviously didn't see whom. But as he makes his way around, we'll check quickly on Dan Cudmore. Essentially, trying to figure out where Darcy Ford happens to be as we'll move along now. Quick look at Tom Janikowski, just eliminated from playoff contention last week after the round of 12. Not a good job from the first-year driver out of Appleton, Wisconsin, to hang around as long as he did, given the depth of field. And now we look in on Brandon Reed out of Fort Worth, Texas, driving the number 36. Again, he missed out on playoff contention this season as well, but certainly had his moments over the course of the regular season. Again, just didn't necessarily translate into enough momentum to get himself into the playoff picture. And a man very much still in the playoff picture is Darcy Ford, who we see right here. He's got Mike Marini behind him. I'm not sure if this is for position or not. Again, notable in that Ford did start toward the back of the field. And, well, that looked like Jameson just a little bit further up the track. So, may not actually be far off here, Darcy Ford. And I don't have any updates from our Discord right away. But as soon as we get that info, we will pass it along. And again, Ford just kind of casually making his way through, and that is Jameson just a little bit further up the straight. So Ford, it would appear, at least is somewhat within striking distance here. And again, given the fact that he started at the back of the field, well, this has to be said, it's a pretty decent drive here, by the looks of things anyway, for the 64.
Well, yeah, it's not really any surprise at all. Starting from the back, he's currently negative 9 points in the playoff standings right now. So he's definitely trying to make up as many positions and try to get as many stage points as he possibly can if he can get up into the top 10 by the stage end here. So he'll likely be one of the top guys once we get to the green.
All right, so we just got word. Well, we just got word 10 laps to go here in this opening stage. And again, just waiting for a running order.
Jacob, second is 18, third
okay.
97, fourth 53, 41, fifth.
All right, so I don't know if you heard it there in the background. 9 laps remaining. Jacob Nelson is your race leader right now, so we'll move it up to him. Nelson started 4th tonight, but it looks like he may have made a move on Nickens, whether it was in pit stops or just flat out on track. We know again though, that Nelson is your race leader. Nickens is 2nd, Higginbotham 3rd, John Peden 4th, Jose Mercado rounds out the top 5. And again, maybe not a huge surprise there, as we're down to 8 remaining in the stage. But yeah, clearly Jacob Nelson, if he wants to hang around out front and make his way into the Championship 4, certainly looks like he's got a car on form here, at least in this opening stage.
Well, yes, for sure. I mean, statistically speaking, you could argue him to be like, I mean, obviously Jonathan Peden is, I guess, the number 1 driver in a sense, but looking statistically, Jacob Nelson has been pretty much arguably, like non-winning wise, like the 2nd best driver so far this season. Like through 13 races before this one, 8 top 5s, 12 top 10s, 2 stage wins, a couple playoff points there as well, and he's got the 2nd best average finish out of anyone. His average start though isn't the most incredible at all. It is definitely one of the higher ones for sure, but his average finish is 2nd best after Jonathan Peden, where Peden's is 4.08 while his is a 5.31. The next best one's a 5.71 from Ty Higginbotham. So again, like I said earlier whenever I was talking about him, it's always been great finishes. He's always up there. He's getting stage points. He's right there to get the job done. But unfortunately, for being the first car across the line to take the checker flag, that just really hasn't been there yet. And at this point, I think it's long overdue that we see that here. But it looks like he's about to likely get his 3rd stage win of the season here, unless a catastrophe happens. But Yeah, at this point, though, like, it would not surprise me at all if he was able to figure out his way into the Final Four, despite the incredible competition that he's going to have to get through here, both tonight and also next weekend as well. And again, if he even makes the Final Four, that's going to be a challenge in itself as well right there when it's only one race. So, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me Nelson keeps up to this pace towards the end here, although it does kind of look like Mike Nickens might be potentially catching up, unless that's been the same pace for the past couple laps. I might be wrong.
No, I think you're probably right on that as we get to 4 remaining in the stage. Nelson also notably catching up to lap traffic here, so that may ultimately play into Mike Nickens' hands. And it looks like we've got a little bit of a gaggle in behind, as, yeah, we got ourselves 3 through 6 right here on track. And Corbin McCauley trying to go inside to get some position, trying to get a draft off of Ty Higginbotham here. But Higginbotham goes high, and that effectively takes away some of the momentum for the 17, at least for now. But again, McCauley committing to that lower line, and Higginbotham going down there as well, or kind of taking a middle groove there, I suppose. And now McCauley potentially getting a bit of a push here from Mercado. Again, this is 3 through 6 you're seeing on track. And Higginbotham 3rd, McCauley 4th, Peden 5th, Mercado in 6th right now, as we'll bring it back to our leaders. And there you, yeah, the gap is shrinking a little bit. 2 laps remaining here in the stage. Nelson continues to lead from Nickens. And we'll go back to that 3 through 6 battle just one more time here quickly just to see. And now Peden's on the low line. Man, oh man, Regan, this could be some excellent racing throughout the evening here.
I mean, hopefully it's for first, though, instead of those positions. It'll still be entertaining back there, but I mean, if we could get something like that for first place, then good Lord, tempers galore.
Well, let's go back up to our leaders and find out just if we are going to get that battle. As Nelson is approaching, I think that's Miller ahead. It is.
I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be his. Doesn't look like Nickens will have enough here if this is the green checker flag right here.
Indeed so, as Nelson just squeaks his way past Miller just for that insurance. And on the lower line, Jacob Nelson, he goes ahead and takes the first stage of tonight's Domino's 200. So it's Nelson first, Nickens in second.
That was a lot of fun.
And then, yeah, some great battles throughout the field. It looks like Peden may have gotten lost in the shuffle there at the back. I think Higginbotham 3rd, McCauley 4th. We'll get the official top 10 here relatively shortly, I would have to think.
9 was first. Beckett was 18. 97 third. 3, 4, 17, 5th.
Okay, so Peden did actually finish ahead in 4th.
64, 8.
And
Bob drew 9. 7.
okay. So yeah, we've got the official top 10 here as we await the start of stage number 2. We'll go over that here right about now as we await the restart. And looks like Nickens has drawn the high line here on this restart. And Nelson's going to lead them to the green flag here by the looks of things as we are racing once again. And so again, just to go over that top 10 very quickly, Nelson wins the stage, Nickens in second, Higginbotham finishes third, John Peden in fourth, Corbin McCauley rounds out the top 5, Jose Mercado 6th, Leo Jameson 7th. Nice recovery from Darcy Ford to grab 8th to at least stay within shouting distance of the lead pack, or at least his other playoff drivers. Bob Drew the 3rd finishes 9th. Reggie Kime takes that final spot in the top 10. As again, we bring it back live here now. Nickens there in second. Nelson continues to lead this one. And again, obviously very, very early on in this second stage. But, you know, it seems like things are tightening right up here. And again, we talked about it before. Darcy Ford starting from the back. He's very much in the equation here. He's 6th.
I mean, if he can keep that up throughout the stage and towards the end as well, don't be surprised if he ends up possibly defending his crown from last year. Although this time around it might be a little bit more meaningful, obviously, because last year it was what was it, like race 3 or something like that? It was early in the season. Early in the season for sure.
Last year Vegas was actually for the championship, like I mentioned earlier, but someone tagged the wall there in the back.
Oh yeah, that is
hit a wall. And yeah, there was still someone in the back there, toward the back of the field. Sounds like Jason Butler was in the vicinity of it. As I heard, that was scary. So, we're getting details. Leo Jameson in
it. Wow. Yeah, I can't. Whenever I'm looking back on the live stream here, there isn't really much of an angle other than one car going head onto the outside wall. I can only imagine in real life that'd be incredible damage, but thank God this game exists. So, yeah, definitely something big happened there. Looking at other angles, there really isn't many cars looking towards the back. So, yeah, if it's Leo Jameson, that's a lot of points that he's going to end up losing right there. Out of all drivers to end up losing that many points, it'd be quite wild because he's been the rookie of the year. So, yeah, very unfortunate to hear about that. And, yeah, I had a complete mind kerfuffle there whenever I thought Las Vegas was early in this season. But yeah, it's no wonder it was the finale because, yeah, obviously Darcy Ford won the title. So
he did.
Big oof.
He did, as we check in on Ty Higginbotham running with Tornado Alley mate Jonathan Peden on that high line. As we've got a lead group of about, again, 6 or 7 kind of separating themselves early on. Mike Nickens leads, Jose Mercado up into second, Jacob Nelson third, although Darcy Ford might be challenging that. Ty Higginbotham's at the back of this lead pack in 7th, which also features Bob Drew the third, Jonathan Peden, as I mentioned earlier, and one more driver, couldn't quite see. But yeah, Mercado there in second. So again, it looks like we've got 6 or 7 who are kind of together right now. And we've got Corbin McCauley there on his own in 8th, trying to catch up to this lead pack.
Or perhaps trying to keep it a little bit more calm because, I mean, based on the wreck that may have happened earlier, whether he was in front of that or he was able to avoid it, he might want to keep it a little bit calm because this pack has been a little bit feisty to start off the second stage, which is a massive difference compared to the first stage where cars are mostly single file and kind of getting away from the rest of the field. So, I mean, if this ends up being what the third stage is like for the most part, then it's only going to get even more stressful and just crazy.
And we'll check in on Corbin McCauley right now. Again, running in 8th, getting toward the back of that lead group here now, just getting a little bit of a pace advantage. It looks like he's just about on the back of Bob Drew the third now. About to take that lower line here. At least I thought he was going low. Then he decides to go high out of turn 2. Trying to get onto the back of Higginbotham here now. Just trying to do anything and everything he can just to find that extra little bit of speed. And look at that. He's found himself among that lead pack once again.
This is pretty much what Daytona and Talladega were supposed to be. And yet we're getting on the intermediate track. Go figure. It kind of feel we're getting like it's like Atlanta Motor or Speedway vibes from real life. And I saw a car there coming off pit road there. It wouldn't surprise me if that was a car involved in the incident earlier. That would be very unfortunate for them. And it looks as though you can see there Darcy Ford looking for second place. He's definitely making his run definitely very worthy after starting in the back.
You are.
It's loose as anything. This is getting feisty.
Yeah, right you are, Riggs. He was door-to-door there with Jose Mercado a moment ago. And we got a good look at that as we're following Jacob Nelson around, the Clarksville, Tennessee native driving for GTR. Yeah, Discord pretty well summed it up here. Ty Higginbotham saying the battle for the lead is insane. We're seeing it. Oh, contact!
Oh no, Jonathan Peden! Big wreck.
And I think Darcy Ford may have had to take avoiding action there somehow as well, as I think it may have actually started out of a little bit of contact between Mercado and Ford.
I might be able to get a good angle of it here on the live stream. Looking back.
Yeah, you should be able to get a good look at it. We were still with that lead battle. Certainly, we know Peden and Ford's last year's top two were very much involved. And
okay, getting a good angle of it.
4 laps remaining in the stage.
Getting a good angle of it. Yeah, getting a good angle of it here. It looks like there was a bit of a lockup between the outside cars there between Jacob Nelson and Jose Mercado. It looks like Nelson went down just a little bit. They kind of locked up on the left rear bumper of Mercado's car, shot down into Darcy Ford, which then caused Nelson to deflect back up and caused Peden to go up into the wall and just slam it head on. Very hard front end damage right there for him. And looking more forward right here, it appears that Ford did fall back just a little bit, maybe not too. Okay, no, he definitely fell back a little bit in the grass there. He ends up falling back too. Looks to be about 7th maybe-ish, but yeah, it definitely appears that Peden is far and away probably gone to the field. Yeah, you can see him right there in the pit stall there trying to likely fix his damage and maybe even get some tires, fuel, whatever could potentially help him in getting a race rebounding strategy. And now the thing is, though, in the playoff standings, he is plus 31. But the thing is, though, losing
exactly
that many points,
like
Higginbottom and Jameson are both around like the 15, like plus 15 rangers, sort of. Peden might end up getting there, maybe even lower. Like, he can't lose any points because a lead like that in this race like this, that's going to be a lot of pressure and a lot of points that you're going to have to make up. Despite that big of a lead, it's definitely going to end up getting lower unless he's able to figure out some strategy that maybe he could end up getting the win somehow. I mean, we've seen him have a dominant year, so I mean, anything involving him would not be a surprise whatsoever, other than literally what just happened.
Right you are there as we stay with this lead battle. Jose Mercado there in 2nd. Mike Nickens has reclaimed the lead. Corbin McCauley there in 3rd. Bob Drew the 3rd runs 4th. Jacob Nelson rounds out the top 5. 20 laps remaining in the stage. Ty Higginbotham is the tail end of that lead pack in 6th. And Darcy Ford is driving like hell to get to the back of this lead pack. Oh, I thought McCauley and Drew were coming together. Higginbotham pitting this lap. And let's see if anyone else happens to dip off with him. No, they do not. So, Higginbotham out of this lead group. He is potentially trying an undercut there. You see, again, a little bit more distance between Darcy Ford and that lead pack. There you see Ford running in 6th. And Mercado's going to take the dip. He's headed into pit lane this time around. Bob Drew the 3rd as well. Mike Nickens maintains the lead. Corbin McCauley in 2nd. As again, we're going to see Drew and Mercado come in this time. Darcy Ford in as well.
Yeah, a couple different entries there from one car to the other there. Mercado, I thought Mercado was going to end up rear-ending Bob Drew the 3rd right there, but they're able to get in just fine. Yeah, it's we're seeing different strategies playing out here. The biggest question is who's going to come out on top. Will Jacob Nelson be the man to take the green checker flag once again and continue gaining those points that were, considering he was -7 heading into this race, he's definitely going to be way closer to the cut line now. But I mean, other guys like Mercado, McCauley, and Ford have been getting some good stage points after their good runs in the first stage. I mean, Nelson won the stage. McCauley was 5th. Mercado 6th. Darcy Ford was 8th. So, yeah, it's definitely some good stuff from them. Although, I keep looking at the standings. I'm looking at Jonathan Peden and Leo Jameson right now. I'm a little concerned about them right now. But again, though, there's still time remaining. We'll just have to find out.
The concern is, I would say, a little bit more apparent in the case of Jameson, obviously, given that, as you mentioned, Peden did have that 31-point edge going into the stage, and then we just saw McCauley and Nelson go into pit lane there a moment ago. Both of those guys, again, trying to fight their way up into that championship 4. As we see Nelson just rejoining ahead of Higginbotham, or is he going to be ahead? No, I think Higginbotham's going to get him on the outside, that momentum. So, Ty Higginbotham, in a place where, you kind of got to gamble a little bit. He may have played his cards right here in stage 2. But obviously still a little ways to go. We're coming up on 15 remaining here in stage number 2. As we'll just see if we can catch... Well, we see Nickens slotting in ahead of Higginbotham and Nelson here on track. And again, I'd have to think this is for position, and looks like things were getting a little bit chaotic up there. As Nickens is right on the back, or Higginbotham, excuse me, is on the back of Nickens here now. And again, Jacob Nelson very much trying to join in on the festivities. And again, we'll just have to wait for a little bit of a reset here, but obviously this stage 2 has been eventful for a number of reasons here, Reegs, and I think things are just going to get more and more interesting as we go along.
Yeah, the potential for what we can get in the third stage scares the heck out of me, but at the same time makes me, it's promising for sure. So we'll have to wait and see, though. It could end up doing a complete 180 and just not fulfilling expectations, but I don't think it'll end up being that way. I'm sure we'll get some good stuff out of here. Yeah.
Well, again, we'll find out soon enough, as this evening's progressing rather quickly here, it has to be said. With Nickens here just kind of working his way up to the back of Kevin Daigle to try and put him a lap down. And as he does that, he's actually produced quite a bit of a gap between himself and what we presume to be kind of a chasing duo here in the form of Higginbotham and Nelson. So Nickens may be benefiting from a little bit of an additional draft off the back of Daigle, actually, as he tries to make the move down the start-finish line. Probably gets it done in turns 1 and 2. And maybe not quite close enough. Right onto the back of him now, just to maximize that draft. And onto that straight, turns 3 and 4. That is going to be job done for the 18. As we'll go backwards here just to see if we can find Darcy Ford. See where he figures into the equation. And there he is, tucked in behind Bob Drew III. Jose Mercado just a little bit further up track as well. And again, not 100% sure on positions right now, but certainly those three were very much among that lead group that we saw earlier on in the stage. As again, we'll bring it back to tonight's pole sitter, Mike Nickens, as he, again, is still tucked in behind Kevin Daigle. I thought that move was going to be done. 10 laps to go. Okay, so I don't know if you heard it in the background there, but Mike Nickens is in fact your race leader, with Nelson second, Higginbotham third, and then this is positions 4 through 7 by the looks of things, with Mercado fourth. I think Darcy Ford's actually moved up to 5th now. Kevin Daigle, or Bob Drew the third in 6th, as we just had a little bit of a reshuffle. As we'll bring it back up to the head of the field now, where Higginbotham is trying to close in on Jacob Nelson here for second. And trying to take a slightly different line, but ultimately Nelson covers that one off. And again, it looks like things might tighten up here just a little bit at the end of the stage as Nelson and Higginbotham both try to navigate Kevin Daigle here potentially. Nickens has already done so. And there you see the gap right on your screen. And we'll get it from the leader's perspective. As for whatever reason, Nelson not quite close enough to make the move. Mike Nickens, of course, being in Vegas, is going to say, oh, thank you very much, as he tries to expand the gap. I had
Viva Las Vegas, baby.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or maybe I just had a shiver here in my makeshift studio as Nickens again is expanding that gap here a little bit, just as he did coming out of pit lane, as it looks like Nelson and Higginbotham have both navigated Daigle now. And they are free to chase our race leader once again, to potentially try and make this one a little bit more interesting here at the end of the stage. But certainly Mike Nickens would say, you know, just kind of keep things as it is. Guys, let me just kind of drive away with this one. I don't think anyone is going to buy that right now, as I believe we're down to 6 remaining here in this second stage.
Gap is 8 tenths between first, second, third.
1 through 3 separated by 8 tenths of a second. And meanwhile, Darcy Ford has moved up into 4th place here by the looks of things, battling with Mercado. And again, Bob Drew the third kind of hanging around there as well. So this is 4 through 6 you're seeing on screen. And that's Mercado into the wall. And did someone else get into the wall? Didn't quite catch that. I thought that's what Higginbotham said, but maybe Nelson got in because Higginbotham has moved up into 2nd while we were away.
Oh boy.
But it looks like Nelson recovered here as he remains 3rd. And yeah, they're coming up to potentially lap Leo Jameson here. Travis Tyson first, though, as Nickens crosses the line. 3 laps remaining here in the second stage. So again, not quite close enough to get to Jameson here, I would say, as you just saw him go through the screen. And there's Nickens as he comes up on Tyson. And it looks like Tyson's going to go high and potentially let Nickens through. Yeah, Tyson just kind of doing a wall ride there as he comes through. 2 laps to go. And again, you see that gap just opening up. And we'll just briefly go back to this battle for 2nd and 3rd. Jacob Nelson's actually reclaimed the position. So nice recovery there from the 9. But Ty Higginbotham, he's going to have something to say about it as they come through turns 3 and 4. With the white flag on stage 2 very much in their sights right about now.
You could see Leo Jameson up there from one camera angle there, so he'll be pretty lucky not to get lapped here, as this is the white flag. So if there were a couple more laps remaining, that definitely would not have been the most ideal situation for him, as he heading into the race plus 14, but now he may be more towards the cut line after one of the incidents earlier. So Mike Nickens is going to come to the green checkered flag and score the second stage victory. That is definitely going to give him a lot of good points heading into the race. He was 4th plus 2, so he's definitely maybe going to be a couple more points up there, depending on the other drivers below the cut line there as well. But after winning the pole, it's been a great race for him thus far after qualifying on pole. So will that momentum be able to continue on? We'll just have to find out. This 3rd stage is probably going to end up causing our hands to absolutely rip our eyes out in shock and stress and despair and all the above.
Because why wouldn't it? As we just
exactly.
we hadn't received them just yet. They should coming up here. There they are. There's our official top 10 as we Just wait for stage number 3 to begin. As you saw, it is Mike Nickens who took the stage win. Jacob Nelson second. Ty Higginbotham third. Again, Darcy Ford playing himself into the mix here in fourth. Bob Drew the third rounds out the top 5. Jose Mercado sixth. Dan Mattiello with a surprise 7th place finish. Nice run from the 14. 8th is Corbin McCauley. So another 3 points for him. And then, of course, Peden and Jameson being out of the stage points doesn't help their cause, as Andy Hurdle grabs 9th. Keith Miller grabs that last stage point in 10th. As we are ready to go now for our third and final stage. And it looks like Nickens is going to lead him off the line. Nelson alongside him. And here we go, third and final stage of tonight's Domino's 200. And I tell you, thinking about Domino's, I think we'll probably be slicing this one pretty thin here at the end. Or maybe even sooner than that. I thought, maybe it was going to get a little tight here. Darcy Ford looks like he's kind of gotten pushed off of that top line here. He's tucked in behind Nelson. And again, we've got an initial group of about 7 or 8 that have separated themselves. Nickens already building up a bit of a gap. So that's Nickens in the lead. Bob Drew the third, I think, in second, as Mercado tries to navigate his way around him. Higginbotham on the outside in third. He's got Darcy Ford right behind him.
A lot of
very much in the mix. Go ahead.
There's a lot of crazy maneuvering going down the inside. Someone was driving down low there. I hope to goodness there was not going to be a wreck there. I think they somehow managed to keep it going there, but the racing getting a little bit wild, maybe a little bit more spread out here towards the front, but it's still definitely very congested. And there's a lot of drivers they're trying to go for. There was one driver there down low in the apron. I have no idea who that was. Let's certainly hope it was not one of the final 8 drivers right there. And Bob Drew the third going for first place. That's a surprise.
Yeah, he's trying to make a move on Nickens, but the 18 closes him right off. As it's Nickens leading from Drew. Higginbotham there in third. I think we saw, I'm not sure if that was, I think that was Mattiello in the background. It may have gotten a little loose out of 4, but here's Drew trying to make a move. And he has got a bit of backing from Higginbotham.
Oh, contact. A little bit of contact there. He's sliding up. Woo.
Yeah, Nickens definitely loose there, whether, as you say, there was minimal contact between he and Bob Drew the third. It was hard to tell. Certainly looks like the 18 was affected. But, you know, that lead group, they are playing it hard, but they're playing it clean here. And it looks like Jonathan Peden's recovered his car a little bit. He's toward the back of this lead pack now. Of course, we saw get caught up in a bit of a wreck. Oh, I thought I saw some contact there a moment ago.
Oh, diving low. Here comes, I can't tell who that is.
That was Mercado trying to get in.
Okay, it is
down
Mercado.
low, trying to force Drew high.
Drew's not letting him go. He's not letting anyone get by. I feel like that's kind of getting into the minds of some of the playoff drivers here. I mean, to be fair, he's quite the aggressive driver. So regardless if he's remaining in the playoffs or not, which he is not anymore. Obviously, He was eliminated in the last round. He's not letting himself go. He still wants to go for the win whenever he can, and the points don't really matter now. And it looks like up high comes Mercado there, door banging. They're going at it off turn 4 right there. Mercado trying to get second place there from the high line, but Bob Drew III still trying with all of his might to defend. Although it looks like Mercado will get the high line run here. Still side by side though. Goodness gracious! Nope,
well,
they're clear
now. He's side by side with
now they're good.
Yeah, so again, Bob Drew the third hanging around here, almost door to door with Higginbotham here, third and fourth. And don't look now, but Jonathan Peden's worked his way up into the top 5. With, I think, Darcy Ford there in 6th. Not sure if that's Ford or Nelson. Both have the red rear of the car. Certainly Nelson's been in that conversation for the balance of the evening. Whereas, of course, Ford had to work his way up a little bit further.
I believe that's Nelson. Ford is about 2 or 3 positions, a little bit more back there. I see Leo Jameson also has come back a little bit there. I believe he's just inside the top 10. So maybe there's a Tornado Alley resurgence coming through after Ty Higginbottom.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a shift in pit strategy potentially, as well as, I thought Mercado was maybe going to have a look on Nickens here into 3, not quite close enough to do so. As Nickens continues to hold station here at the top of the field. Again, Mercado second, Higginbotham in third, Pete in fourth, Bob Drew the third is shuffled back down to fifth. And I think the 2 red rear ends are 6 and 7 in the form of Nelson and Ford. Yeah, there's Ford with the red front as well. So there's your differentiator as, I thought we were going to get 3 wide there on the back straight for a moment, but it looks like everything's staying relatively clean. But obviously very, very competitive as well as Nickens tries to build up a little bit more of a gap between himself and that particular chase pack. And as they come through turns 1 and 2 again, that 18, man, oh man, Riggs, that has looked like very much the dominant car here for the majority of the evening. I believe second in stage 1, and then of course won stage 2 as well. Whenever he gets some open air and clear track, good luck catching Mr. Mike Nickens.
Well, yeah, he won the pole, he got second the first stage, he won the second stage, and now he's leading her in the third stage. At this point, it's either going to have to be other cars are just going to beat him straight up on pace, or maybe he ends up screwing up, or maybe a pit strategy ends up going wrong. At this point, like, Nickens does look like he has the win in hand here, even though there's still plenty of time left here in this stage. If a pit strategy goes wrong, then that could be a serious collapse for Nickens, as he is, I believe this would be the second time he would, in the playoffs, where he would win his way into the next round, and this time around it would most certainly be a lot more, I don't know what's the term to think of it, probably, can you help me out there? Yeah, it would feel more well-earned. It would definitely feel a lot better, because whenever the playoffs first began, obviously the first race of the round of 16 was at Michigan. He got the job done and scored his first career win in the NASCAR series. So this time around, it'd definitely be a lot more meaningful to him, as it would be his ticket into the Final Four at Homestead. But again, we probably shouldn't say anything just yet, though, because there's still plenty of time, and it is getting maybe a little bit feisty here as here comes down low. Going for the bump there, Higginbottom. He tried.
There was absolutely a bump. But again, it doesn't
look 3 wide, almost.
2
here
worse
comes up high
right now.
Mercado trying up high.
And Higginbottom potentially trying to get a bit of a drift.
He's in the wall. Mercado in the wall.
Well, I think, we said we better not say anything too soon. That's why. As Higginbottom's going to get a push from Drew. And now Ty Higginbottom's going to find himself in the lead of this race here, I think. Although Nickens is going to have something to say about that.
No, Nickens gets it back. Nickens still gets it back.
Oddly enough, there it has to be said, Nickens
here comes
getting
Peden,
a little
though.
bit. I was going to say
there. Yes, Peden.
That's where the push came from. The other Tornado Alley driver in this equation. So things getting a lot more spicy here at the head of the field, and now we've got a secondary chase pack as well, with Ford and Nelson at the head of it. I think we saw McCauley there in 7. Looks like Jameson's part of that group as well, as Nickens is going to take that low line just to hold on to the lead right now. And again, if this becomes, again, a lead group of 8 or 9, look the heck out.
Yeah, pretty much he's looking back on the inside. Here comes Ty Higginbottom. It's now back to a double file pack once again, coming through turns 3 and 4. Will Higginbottom be able to get the run, or will Nickens have the per usual corner exit pace there? There's contact there. Door banging the bit. That's going to cause that pack in the back to catch up a little bit. They'll... are they 3 wide? Almost 4. Oh my goodness. And that pack is coming too. This could be like an 8 or 9 car battle, even though we still definitely have green flag pit stops coming through. So, will this all be worth for nothing if there's a massive pileup?
Well, I think we're going to find out here sooner rather than later, as it looks like that secondary group is putting in the work to get to the back, and there's Mercado 8th, McCauley 8th, Jameson 9th, so Mercado was 7th before, but Corbin McCauley might have something to say about that on the inside of turns 1 and 2. And maybe a little bit of a wall bang there from Mercado.
Oh, trouble! Big trouble from Mercado.
Spinning.
That is going to be a lot of points he's going to lose right there, especially for the final stage, heading toward the end of the race. More integral than stage points in a sense, but I mean, those stage points he gained earlier might be able to help him a little bit, but it's those bigger points you want to get at the very end, at that very last checkered flag, so not good at all for Jose Mercado.
And it looks like McCauley, sustained a bit of front end damage as a result, but it looks like he's able to keep going at least for the time being, as he's moved up into 6th place. He's 7th, Jameson 8th. As Ford and Nelson get a little bit spicy on the top of the tri-oval. That's 5 and 6 battling to try and get up to that lead pack. And let's go to that battle. Nelson currently in 5th. Ford with the inside line coming back to that straightaway. And there you see, the gap is absolutely closing between Nelson, Ford, and that top group of 4. This is going to be a lead group of 6 here, probably within a lap.
I'm very worried. I'm kind of worried how we're going to... I mean, to be fair, we saw how packed the cars were in stage 2 before the green flag pit windows are coming. They were able to be successful in coming down pit road without any trouble, but I feel like for the 3rd stage, it might be a little bit more tight this time around, so hopefully things are a little bit more cleaner this time, and it looks like Jonathan Peden has taken the lead, I think.
Yeah, sure looks
wrong.
like
they're banging again. It's just the same old thing. Goodness gracious.
Well, we're back to that lead battle there. I think that was a little bit of contact between Peden and Nickens. And Nickens kind of getting pushed up high a little bit. And Jonathan Peden is your race leader. Ty Higginbotham there in 2nd. Nickens 3rd, trying to hang on that high line.
Are you surprised, Jordy? Are you surprised it's all of him?
No.
Exactly.
I mean, the one thing that may have cast a bit of a surprise was, again, the wreck in stage 2. But
exactly,
it's an incredible recovery here from Jonathan Peden, as, again, he leads this one. Nickens actually giving him a bit of a push out of turn 2. Higginbotham's going to take that open line, though. And it looks like Higginbotham and Peden will take that low line into 3 and 4. So again, you've got 2 Tornado Alley.
Oh my goodness, that is tight. 3 wide for 2nd almost. Peden, I thought it looked like Nickens might have had tried to get the run there on the outside, and looks like Ty Higginbotham's going to go for it. We got the top 2 Tornado Alley cars right there going at it for first place side by side coming off of turn 2. Nickens is going to give the push there to Peden on the high side. Bob Drew the 3rd might also help out Nickens a little bit there to make the run a little bit better there, but we're getting 3 wide there, I think, for 2nd place. That's going to get tight off that quarter.
And I think off of that previous exchange, Jacob Nelson may have lost out here a little bit as he's dropped down to 6th, as we see someone coming out of pit lane right in the vicinity of our leaders. I think that might be Trent Nielsen making his way out. And Peden remains the leader. Nickens there in 2nd. Ty Higginbotham, who you see on the screen right now, is 3rd. Darcy Ford in 4th. Bob Drew the 3rd, 5th. Jacob Nelson in 6th, but Ford tags the wall. Darcy Ford tags the wall, just came a little bit too hot out of turn 4. And you saw the sparks fly. And as a result, that's going to move Nelson up into 5th. And we'll see if Darcy Ford...
we're getting a couple cars diving low. Looks like pit stops are coming.
Well, we'll find out soon enough. we'll get a good look here. Nickens is in. And I think Bob Drew the third also in. Yeah, so Peden's your leader, Higginbotham in second, Nelson third, Ford in fourth. And I don't know if you heard it in the background there, Riggs, but another playoff driver just, I think you called it almost. Mr. Corbin McCauley dinged for speeding on pit road as Jacob Nelson comes in. And, oh, someone into the wall in the back there. I think that was Nielsen into the wall. In pit lane, Mercado also in, Jameson in as well.
97, 53 pitting this lap.
And Higginbotham and Peden coming into pit lane this lap.
That would be the second time in 3 weeks, I believe, where McCauley gets a speeding penalty. I think it might have been the third stage as well back at Texas. I don't know if that might be correct with him, but I know that at Texas he definitely got a speeding penalty during one of the green flag pit windows, so that is definitely not going to help him out here. He's been getting some good points from the stages, so that is very unfortunate. Hopefully it's not going to put him down too much. We'll just have to wait and see as all the other pit stops roll through, and maybe he'll have to get lucky off of some feisty racing for the lead if we do end up getting another pack going for it, kind of similar to some other races like Indianapolis and Michigan that we've seen earlier in the season. Hopefully we get stuff like that. Okay, we got a lot of cars coming in at the same time there off of pit road, so maybe this will be it right here.
Yeah, there's Mercado exiting, getting up to speed. And Mike Marini there as well. Peden just coming out of pit road. Higginbotham doing the same. Ford a little bit further back. Maybe took another second or two to fix some damage up. Not 100% sure. That's pure speculation, but certainly more of a gap than when they came in. And as everybody assimilates, it looks like Nickens is back out front, if I had to guess. Yeah, there's Nickens. I think that's Nelson second. I want to say Peden has worked his way into third. Higginbotham fourth. Bob Drew the third and fifth. That is what it appears the top five is right now. And so, I think we are in for, well, we'll have to see. We thought we were in for a bit of a grandstand finish in stages 1 and 2 after the close racing pre-pit stop, but then things kind of separated a little bit. I don't know about you, Riggs, but I know we've seen a lot of drama. I think I want to see a little bit more.
There's still plenty of time, man. If we could get another update on how many laps are remaining at this point, I think we'll definitely be able to get a better picture of what might be able to come next. I mean, the thing is too, we don't have to have like 5, 6, or 7 cars battling together. We could still have 2, 3 cars going at it for the win, because I mean, like, even we see Peden and Higginbotham going at it right there. I believe you said that was for the lead, or for,
yeah,
you might want to say it.
That was the 20 to go I was giving you.
Okay, 20 to go. Okay, yeah, gotcha. But yeah, like the thing is, we got 2 Tornado Alley guys going at it right here, and thing is, you might think it's kind of like a teammate thing if things don't work out for, let's say, like Higginbotham isn't able to get by him, but like, I mean, this is to get your ticket into that final race to win the title. So I don't think they're going to hold back. I don't think they're going to want to play nice to each other at this time of the season. Like you have to be quick. You gotta step up at the right points. So it's kind of like, at this point, it's kind of like teammates don't matter. It's all about like individual. It's not team really anymore. So it just really depends on the certain situation in particular. So yeah,
you hit the nail on the head there. Basically, I don't think you can hold back anymore, especially with things just ratcheting up and up and up pressure wise here. As I didn't quite hear the full Discord message, but I do believe this is our kind of lead pack here. Mike Nickens continuing to lead. And I think we're down to about 18 to go in this one. And it is the 18 out in front. But there you see 2, 3, and 4. They're pretty tightly packed together. That is Nelson, Peden, and Higginbotham. Don't be surprised if they can potentially swallow up Nickens here to make this at minimum a 4-horse race. And Bob Drew III still holding on here in the top 5. And I think I heard Darcy, it's either Ford or Jameson in 6th place. I know it was someone with the 4 on the end. But if we go back to Darcy Ford, yeah, he's tucked in behind Bob Drew. So I would say that it is Darcy Ford in 6th place, as we'll bring it back up to our race leader. And, okay, things getting a little bit interesting here behind him, as, again, they have started to catch Nickens here a little bit as they come through turns 1 and 2. See that gap just getting a little bit smaller. And obviously still a little bit of time for 2, 3, and 4 to catch up. Meanwhile, it looks like Darcy Ford's moved up into 5th. So he's going to want to get in on this particular battle sooner rather than later himself. As again, Nickens continues to lead this one. But again, you see that gap just shrinking and shrinking here. So I was saying I thought we were going to have a battle at the end. Maybe a little bit premature. 3 laps, I think, from when I said that. And now it's essentially a lead pack of 4 once again.
Yeah, not really seeing any cars back there that could try and make it a 6-car battle. With the only way probably would be if these 4 cars start to tangle together and slow themselves down if they end up getting side by side or bumping back and forth. But again, I was saying earlier, like, we don't need to have like 6 or 7 or even 8 cars going for it. We could have only like 3 of them with a real shot at the win, and they could still put on a fantastic battle here. And they're coming on the inside comes Peden.
Man. Oh, Nickens gets pushed a little high here.
He got pushed up high.
And that is going to allow, at minimum, John Peden through into the lead. And door-to-door between Nickens and Higginbotham. Nickens is going to find himself pushed down maybe as far as 4th. Nope, slots in ahead of Nelson to get into 3rd. And trying to get the position
dives.
right back. Pushing
Down on Higginbotham.
And if this is what we're getting now, oh boy.
Yeah, what we're getting now, what we might get at the checker flag here, Peden putting on a tiny bit of a gap here. Mike Nickens will try to get back here. Higginbotham swinging back and forth to try and find a lane to get by to have a Tornado Alley top 2 once again here, but it's kind of a equal thing here between Tornado Alley and GTR. So okay, no, they're side by side once again. Higginbotham to the inside. Nelson maybe trying to help out Nickens there on the high side. Looks like he's going to stay low there. Nickens trying to get the high line run down the back straightaway here. Almost wide, maybe
off the wall.
Maybe Higginbotham might be able to clear for 2nd place here. He will. It's now going to be the GTR cars side by side, although Nickens might be able to get the run on the high side here.
A little bit more of a wall ride, though.
Very close to the wall there. It looks like he's going to probably fall to 4th place here. He might have to play a bit of a patient game and see if the Tornado Alley guys and maybe even Nelson start to get a little bit feisty here. He might want to play a little smart. So...
And we just got the word 10 to go here in tonight's race. So, things getting awfully tight here, and do not discount Darcy Ford. There you see him. He is slowly catching this lead quartet as they're coming up on 9 remaining at the line. John Peden does lead. Higginbotham 2nd, Nelson 3rd, Nickens 4th. Ford in 5th, Bob Drew the 3rd and 6th. We'll just have to see if we can figure out where the other playoff drivers are that we've been referencing. Jameson, yeah, kind of running his own race, so not where he wants to be. Ditto for Jose Mercado. Effectively on the other side of the track. Of course, we did see him get caught up in something earlier in the stage. As we'll bring it right back to our lead pack. 8 to go now. As again, it's Peden still leading. Higginbotham 2nd as they're coming up on, not sure if that was Miller or Kime. Miller.
I mean, If Darcy Ford was up there, I wonder what he'd have to think.
Okay. Let's just race here, folks. We're all just people.
Sometimes nice to put some humor into these, but yeah,
yeah.
looks like this time around it'll be definitely a little bit cleaner there. Yeah, Jonathan Peden continues to remain in the lead, but I mean, it's the way this has been going. It wouldn't surprise me if Ty Hickenbottom decide to almost as if turn into a GTR car, almost. So who knows?
It's going to be very interesting here, as I believe we're coming up on 6 remaining this time around.
Here it is.
There's
Here
the move.
Comes.
Potentially Higginbotham down low, Peden a little bit higher.
Nelson giving the push.
And I thought Nelson was going to try and make it 3 wide there going into 1.
Oh, Higginbottom got tight.
Door here
he got tight. Higginbottom got tight there. He's still good. Still just barely low on Jonathan Peden right there. He might be able to get the
push from Jacob Nelson.
Yes, he might be able to get the push, but Peden might be able to get the better highline run here. Oh my.
That's where at 5 to go.
Yeah, you're saying that what we could see at the checker flag, it scares me.
Well, I don't know how much you like being scared, but we're going to find out in a couple minutes one way or the other. As Pete continues to lead, Higginbotham second, Nickens has moved up into third, Nelson fourth, Ford just out of striking distance right now in fifth. And again, of particular note here to Ford especially, the fact that, as we're down to 4 remaining, the fact that Jacob Nelson's in that lead pack, that's another guy who's ahead of him, but on the outside looking in. So, you know, Ford would love to potentially catch up. But again, right now, it's about Jonathan Peden looking for a bit of redemption after finishing second last year at Vegas, coming that close to the title. Peden might be punching a ticket here if he holds on for the next 3 laps. But Nickens going adventurous down low. He's not out of this.
He pushed him up just a little bit, trying to get the low line, but the thing is, though, the high line seems to be prevailing the most, especially off the corner exits, so Nickens might be able to get the run here. Looks like he's trying just a little bit, but it's not going to be enough. Higginbottom might get better on the high line here, as we will be exiting off of turn 4 for 2 laps remaining. Are we going to get a double file here inside and outside? It looks like it's possible.
Oh, man. He's getting good here as Peden still holding on. Nickens second. Higginbotham, I think, third. Nickens drifting up a little bit. Front on quarter panel here.
Almost 3 wide there.
Man, oh man, turns 3 and 4. This is getting absolutely chaotic. And Darcy Ford, he's not too far out of this. Like, we're coming to the white flag right about now, as we are into the final lap of tonight's Domino's 200. Jonathan Peden still holding on.
He's diving almost. He's trying to get down to the low side. Mike Nickens trying to get side by side. He will. They will be side by side down the back straight with their door banging. They're banging.
Nickens has the inside line going into 4. We'll see what kind of run Peden gets out of it. So Nickens, it looks like he's gotten ahead here. Peden up high.
Off Nickens turn 4. Nickens gets it. Almost.
What's going on?
Nickens
wins.
Wow.
Mike Nickens is into the championship 4.
I can only imagine he wants to jump up and down even though he's in his racing seat right now. Holy cow, have you ever?
I mean, he, again, started on pole. He's had the car here for the majority of the evening. He made the move exactly when he needed to. And even though you see Peden ahead on the track now, it is Mike Nickens who punches his ticket into the championship 4 with his second victory of the season. And for Jonathan Peden, that's a second straight year of an agonizing second place finish here at Las Vegas. And there you see Nelson finishing third, Higginbotham 4th.